Spawning in the red color and sporting a fancy skin right there. I've got the wrong colors again. This is Marik.
His opponent is in the bottom left. He's a veteran of the first Meta Plays tournament, where he took home second place, and currently asking for a pause, he is Trigger.
Well, I'm doing it anyway. I've made his name slide across the screen.
Resumed.
Filibuster says, cool map intro. Thank you, I think so too.
Yeah, actually it's made by Maguro. I think he's done a really good job. Maguro is well known for his modding work in the co-op scene.
Yeah, I mean, he did a fantastic job. We already have a divergence in the builds here. It's looking like, what, 2 gate versus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty significant difference. So, Cybernetics Core, I was wondering if there was going to be an expansion first. Yeah, so Cybernetics Core for Trigger.
Probe's gonna see this. But will Marik be able to capitalize? It's difficult. I mean, the first wave of units generally isn't gonna do much. But maybe once you have like 4 Stalkers versus 3. Or something like that. That could be nice. Or you could just make Adepts at this point.
You know what? I'm thinking this is going to be heavy pressure here. Reason being, there is a pylon, a hidden pylon. Not sure if we can call it a proxy in the top right corner. I'm thinking maybe like DTs, possibly Stargate, but I would expect DTs with the 2-gate opener.
It would be a good move to go with that, I think. Yeah. But does Trigger know that there's a pylon missing? I mean, the probe got a full scat off, so
yeah, I think he does. I think he does. In seeing nothing at the natural thus far, like not even a probe dancing around there waiting to make a nexus, he has to be expecting something, and it is indeed a Twilight Council. 2 Adepts are going to catch the 1 Adept of Trigger out in the center of the map, but it looks like he will get away.
Nice.
Verifies, that's actually really nice. Verifies no expansion, so Trigger is definitely going to be on his guard here.
And Stargate tech just happens to be pretty good against all that, so I'm liking it.
Right.
Get
yeah,
Oracle,
final question is going to
detection.
be detection. Yeah, exactly. So if he is in fact just going for an Oracle first, it's going to be a Void Ray.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess you can squeeze one out, that's fine.
Yeah, as of right now, I would expect maybe a little bit of damage from Marik, but by the time that DT like really starts putting in work, a Chrono Boosted Oracle very well could be in play. So I think Trigger should be okay, especially with the full wall off. He may end up canceling that shield battery. We'll see in a moment here.
We're about to have War Prism. By the way, I'm really liking that Trigger has made a forge. He can make some cannons if he wants to, and he does.
So this is actually, yes, you're absolutely right. This is actually looking to be a disaster potentially, but as I say that, there is a Warp Prism coming into the main. There's no detection there just yet. Another Void Ray is being made. The pylon will spot it. How much work can these DTs get done? Cannon's going down in the main mineral line right now. We'll see if Marik wants to focus that down. It looks like that is exactly what he'll do. It's canceled immediately. There is going to be damage here. Make no mistake about it.
Damage, yes, but there is a second base and Trigger hasn't stopped mining, whereas Marik actually does not have a... Wait a second, is he gonna get the main? That's actually pretty sick.
He has to split. I was gonna say he has to split those DTs. I think he's gonna get it though.
Dude, and he gets out with 1. No, he doesn't. What happened there?
Killed just in time.
He definitely did a recall. What happened?
Yeah, just got focused down right before the 1 was pulled.
Oh, that's really unlucky for Marik, but he's done some damage. Is it enough to be an equalizer? Not sure. Let's see what those Stalkers can do. They're vastly outnumbered, so nothing at the moment. but maybe more DTs at some point once he has the gas.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that Marik has to transition pretty soon now. The DTs obviously are no longer a surprise. There's a photon cannon going up right now in the main mineral line. There are obviously a couple already at the natural. Good micro there with the warp prism, but I'm not sure Marik's going to be able to keep these stalkers alive. Loses a couple, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and the rest of them are pretty low as well. The Void Ray really did work, and there's going to be more Void Rays where that came from.
Now, there's a nice move on the other side of the map. Trigger actually took down, looks like 8 probes with his double oracles, and he has recalled them back for the defense. So, very, very well done there by Trigger. Does lose 1 oracle.
Sorry to the viewers, I actually did miss that action, but here on the front, the stock poking has been pretty serious as well. Let's see if Marik can break in somehow with everything depowered. He's actually got a decent chance at it, but the boys get pulled. The Trigger stays ahead, almost 20 supply, crazy.
Yeah, Mark, he's doing the best that he can. After that initial attack where he took down the main, he's managed to kind of eke out some more damage. He took down that Artosis pylon at the natural. Now he's made his way into the main, takes down the other Oracle. However, an Observer's about to pop out, and there is that Photon Cannon.
Yeah, and once an Immortal comes out, this is going to get a lot worse.
Yes. Yeah, an Immortal will completely change this. However, Marik is pretty darn confident. He's going for a Robo Bay. Warp Prism goes down, and that is, yeah, that's going to be enough right there to call the GG. The attack just could not be sustained any longer. Trigger takes it with a solid defensive win in game 1.
So game 2 is on, and in the red, we have got Trigger playing as Protoss.
His opponent in the blue and the bottom right, hoping to stave off elimination here in this best of 3, he is Marik.
Trigger seems to be doing something similar to last time. And we've got the really early double gas, wow. So I think we're looking at a similar game again with the double gateway versus the faster expand.
Yep. Trigger, of course, will be privy to that information, and sure enough, Marik is going to go with the pylon in a similar location, slightly more forward this time. Let the mind games begin. Trigger, of course, has scouted the same thing that he scouted last game. I imagine he'll follow up as he did last game too. He's expanded. I wouldn't mind seeing something different here from Marik. Trigger dealt with those DTs very easily. With how assiduous he was in his scouting, I think it's going to be difficult to sneak that past him again. Or I shouldn't say again, it would be for the first time. But anyway, we'll find out in a moment here what the tech choice is from Marik. It's going to be Stalkers instead of Adept, so it could be Blink.
Could be Blink. What's the proxy option? Robo? What?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, this of course, I mean, it could technically still be, you know, a number of things, but I think most likely is probably going to be some type of Blink aggression. I would expect either a warp prism or an Observer. More Stalkers are being made.
What about the Disruptor drop? just proxy the Robo Bay as well.
That actually, I mean, that would be wild. I would love to see something like that. On a map, a map like this, that's actually not a bad idea. There's a lot of real estate in the main, in like the top right of Trigger's main, where a Disruptor absolutely could get in there and do some damage. The Stalkers do take out the Scouting Probe. Looks like there's going to be, okay, there's going to be another Pylon or just a Scout from the Probe here. Okay, it is going to be a Scout, and it's a Warp Prism from the Robo.
Okay, well, he's going with the Stalker thing, like you suggested, but there's no other tech to be seen.
Yeah, third Gateway being added on, but no Twilight, and Marik is walling off his main, so this is going to be a dedicated attack, but I think it's just going to be a quick, basically like 3-gate Stalker. I don't know if I guess we could call it an all-in. This is a very heavy attack for sure. And already Trigger has an Immortal about to pop out.
It's a huge problem.
Trigger is reading Marik like a book right now.
Well, the Stalkers will be able to do some damage for sure. But again, there's 2 bases and there's the Immortal already. Damn.
Yeah. That's just extremely discouraging if you're Marik. That Immortal is oh dear.
No,
and
oh no.
I believe it was 2 more Stalkers that went down there. The Immortal alone just completely changes.
Well, the pickup micro has been actually really good, but the Immortal doesn't care. He just blasts through everything, and there's the shield battery Symphonic. This is so painful.
Yeah, the shield battery is just going to do extra work. There was even a supply block there momentarily with no pylons in production, but it's not going to matter. The Immortal stands strong. Even without the shield battery, it's a big problem. And then combined with the shield battery, it's just way too much there for Marik to push through. Of course, the element of surprise is now gone as well. He is, okay, Naka, this is interesting. He is transitioning, there we go, into the Robo Bay. Have our very own Prophet here casting.
I'm ready.
You guys appreciate that. There it is right there. So I guess the only question that remains now is, tactically speaking, how will Marik use the Disruptor? Is he going to try to drop in the main and maybe poke with Stalkers outside of the natural? Is he just going to use the Disruptors to brute force through the natural, maybe try to get a hit on the Immortals? And there are 2 Immortals here, so those Stalkers are losing value quickly.
Oh, you know what would be really bad news if Trigger just goes and decides to crush Marik's base? There's nothing there.
Yeah. And I have to say, base trade scenario is definitely going to favor Trigger. Marik has 2 bases to take out. Trigger has 1.
It's a huge difference. I mean, he's gonna get this pylon.
Oh, he goes with a recall.
And yeah, everyone comes home.
Disruptor.
Oh, that's a pretty good start. He
Nice.
He does 2 more of those. We're talking then.
Yeah. Manages to focus down the Immortal as well. He's going to retreat for now. I think he wants to wait for this other Disruptor to join up. Marik doing a good job of getting some value there. Even managed to depower the Robo facility, which is really the linchpin to Trigger's defense.
Oh yeah. Oh,
now the Disruptor shot
was great, but then the Disruptor shot still found the targets. Oh, he's blasting himself now.
Yeah.
No.
The friendly fire definitely hurt there. I think Marik needs another. I don't know. I was about to say another Disruptor, but I realized those 2 were stacked on top of each other. So he might be able to do this with what he has. He does manage to get the 1 Immortal.
3 Stalkers that time. Is Marik gonna be able to make it? He's finally ahead in supply for once.
Yeah.
His army is almost 2-1.
Wonderful pickup from Marik on the Disruptor, and then Trigger, proving he's equal to the task, saves his Immortal. This is an excellent micro battle that we have here. Disruptors do get a shot off. Looks like 1, possibly 2 Stalkers went down, and he does focus down the Robo.
Next up, if he can take out that Cybernetics core long term, that could definitely spell GG for Trigger. But let's see. Trigger has something to say about that with double shield battery up now. Oh, still Picks up the Immortal, fantastic work. Kills the Disruptor, and there's the overcharge. I don't think Marik's getting anything done for the next half minute.
So I think you were right in what you said. If Marik can take down the cybernetics, I think that would be the way to go. The way that Marik can lose this is by trying too hard to brute force into the 3 shield batteries. I think he needs to take his time a little bit, chip away. Get the tech. Here comes a big disruptor shot, but a pickup comes in at the last second for Trigger. I just don't know if he has enough forces.
Ooh, the Immortal picking off both disruptor sections. Oh no, one of the disruptors got picked up, but even that is a lot of damage. Stalker's trying to brute force it. They might be able to make it, especially if he picks up another one with the disruptor. Yeah, there he goes. The Trigger is in a lot of trouble. All he's really got is a blink coming up for actually 0 Stalkers, and Marik is warping in his base.
Yep, I think he's coming to terms with it now, probably collecting himself for the deciding match. I mean, it was a fantastic defense for a while, but a couple of clutch disruptor shots just totally changed the course of that battle.
Yeah, the disco balls on the ground are pretty good.
Yeah, they are indeed. I can see why they were so popular in the 70s. Well, they were on the ceiling, so they
were on the ceiling. That's the Oracle. That's the thing. But times change, and oh man, the probes. Oh, okay, getting the Warp Prism is pretty big. Let's see if the probes can make something happen together with the remaining Stalkers. Looks like it's gonna be really close. Probably not. Yeah, Trigger does give up. He fought to the last probe.
Yeah, he really did. And that was a fantastic defense from Trigger for a while. I mean, he started out with a nice advantage, getting his Immortal out immediately. His read was perfect. But yeah, it really just came down to execution, and I think that Marik transitioned to the disruptors at the perfect time. If he would have tried to force his way through with more Stalkers for like I think probably even like one more warp cycle, he would have started to bleed off to the Immortals, and I don't think that attack could have worked at all. He brought the disruptors in just when they were needed, and that was enough to keep Trigger back. But you know what, looking back on it, Naka, what do you think would have happened if Trigger would have continued across the map for that base trade? So remember, I believe he recalled back.
I would be in favor of that. I mean, what Marik could have done as well is recall himself, you know, but... Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
But I think in that situation, it favors the 2-base player. If they both, you know, if Trigger continues across the map and Marik recalls back to defend, you've got a 2-base economy, presumably pumping out more units.
We're here on Oxide, and this is a decider game between these two. Well, game 2 that was. In the Protoss, in the red, we've got Marik.
His opponent in the bottom left, and he was the 2nd place finisher in the first meta plays tournament. Hoping to seal the deal here in the deciding match. He's the blue Protoss, and his name is Trigger. Okay, we've got some shenanigans right out of the gate. Hold on island block there at the natural.
Marik's adapting.
Yeah. And we've, well, speaking of which, Oh, okay. We had a proxy pylon from Trigger outside of the natural of Marik, but he canceled it.
Right. But yeah, Marik's core build is the same. It's just, you know, a little bit different now because of the proxy pylon. Trigger has to make a zealot and try to clean this up. Let's see if Marik still gets his proxy. Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah, so I think it would serve Trigger well to diligently scout the map here. Marik has been very persistent with his aggressive plays in both games. And, you know, he hasn't made a natural expansion yet. Had Arentia asked in the chat if Trigger is in GM. Yes, I believe Trigger is
Very
above
high in GM.
5,800. Yeah, 58, 5,900. Marik is around 5,500. I think he's over 5,500.
I think he's the 3rd or 4th best Canadian player.
Marik.
No, Trigger.
Oh, Trigger, okay. It's going to be a Robo again. From Marik, that is, and he is making Stalkers. Trigger's got a probe in the bottom right corner of the map. Looks like he might. I thought he might want to hide some tech there. Unless he's just scouting.
No, I think he was just looking for a proxy because he knew the last 2 games there was a proxy, so
Yeah.
he's just aggressively looking for it. He's not finding it because Marik is a freaking ninja, so he's got to come to terms with the fact that
Oh
either
my.
he's just not finding it or it doesn't exist.
Yep, the Zealot is going to spot the probe now, though, in the left-hand
Ooh.
corner of the map.
That is a win.
Yes,
Oh.
it is. Oh, go! Ah, you've
He-
got to go up the...
Not the
He's going to chase the probe!
probe is a
Okay.
distraction.
The decoy! Okay, so he is going to see the Robo, and if he's paying attention, which I'm sure he will be, he will see the Warp Prism. So this is a fantastic scout from Trigger.
He's probably not going to get that pylon. It would shock me if he did. There's 4 stalkers coming.
Yeah, he's going to be sacrificed for Ire here. His life for Ire. GG to the Zealots.
Oh, we've got only... Wait a second, we've got only 1 warp gate for Trigger here? That could be an issue.
Yeah, this is going to rely pretty heavily on the Void Ray, which is about to get focused down. Just barely gets into range of the shield battery.
Overcharge, just save it.
Excellent micro so far from Marik. It only lost 1 stalker. Great pickup there.
Yeah, the micro was really good. But now there's 2 Void Rays and the 3rd one is on the way. Let's see if the... No, this push isn't going to happen at all.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult. And the issue, of course, is that if that Void, or I'm sorry, if the Warp Prism falls to the Void Rays, this attack is completely destroyed. Shield Battery doesn't quite go down. The other Shield Battery bro comes to his defense.
Nice one. Yeah, more stalkers coming in for Trigger. He's kind of starting to be ahead in overall army value.
Yeah.
Stalkers
Look at
are
production cab.
less effective for supply than the Void Rays are, so...
For sure. That, he's gonna try to make Lightning Strike twice, Naka, with the Robo Bay.
That's how it
Gonna
works,
go.
IRL.
The thing is, I don't think the Disruptors are going to have the same impact, or they probably won't have the same impact against a Void Ray army as they did against the Immortal army. Obviously, they'll still do serious work against the Stalkers if played correctly, but the Void Rays kind of put a timer on them. The Stalkers of Marik would have to focus down the Void Rays, while the Disruptor goes against the Stalkers of Trigger. It's very difficult to manage.
For sure, and actually Trigger has picked off 7 stalkers this game already versus just losing 2. And, you know, 2 Void Rays as well, but... Overall, the count is starting to be in favor of Trigger by far.
Definitely. The Disruptor's about to pop out right now. Trigger does need to be careful. Here comes the initial shot. Gets
Okay,
2
that could be a game
Stalkers,
changer.
and the Void Ray goes down. Now, Trigger, of course, knows what he's up against now, so I mean that helps a little bit, but I think he definitely took more losses than he would have liked there.
He's starting to get the Phoenix. Now the Phoenix will help a lot with picking up the Disruptor.
Yes, for
and
sure.
Also, it can go after the Warp Prism when the Stalkers are a little out of position. Let's see what he can get done with it. Damn, it gets 4 hits!
Absolutely huge hit there. I believe there was 4 Stalkers and a couple of probes, Naka.
That might just knock Trigger out of the tournament. That hit was way too good.
Yeah, that was worst case scenario in that engagement for Trigger. Marik has the numbers now. I think at this point we can say he has the advantage. Oh my goodness, the pickup at the last
possible second. He really tried, but the unpower. Let's see if the Stalkers can hold still. Is there another Disruptor coming? No. That could be a saving grace here.
Surprisingly not. Now, the Stargate is unpowered. I was about to say that I think Marik probably has the compositional advantage. I was assuming he could keep that Disruptor alive, but Trigger picked it up at the last second and then killed it. Another Disruptor is being added to the mix now, but it's a bit late, I think.
Yeah, we can't ignore this income advantage that has been going on for several minutes now. If Marik can just bust through that wall, I'm not sure he can do anything, to be honest. And once the Phoenix count reaches like 3 or 4, that also starts being scary.
Definitely.
Just for the Warp Prism, I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And once that Warp Prism goes down, it's a huge blow to the attack. Trigger has to be very careful not to press too far forward, but he does get the pickup, momentarily anyway, on the Disruptor. The Disruptor is going to fire now, but gets picked up again. Excellent job by Trigger, who does manage to kill the Disruptor. Marik is now in full retreat mode. Not in great shape at all. I mean, he's down 11 workers because this is a 1 base all in. He is against pretty much a 1.5 base economy from Trigger.
Does look like Trigger is just way too far ahead right now. 34, armor supply to 21, picks off the Warp Prism, and that's gonna be it. Trigger takes game 3 and moves on.
What a fantastic series that was. Those last 2 games in particular were top notch.
That was a hell of a comeback, seriously. Big shout out to all our patrons. You enable us to make better content, host larger tournaments, and to give more back to the community. If you haven't already, make sure to collect your perks. Our next Patreon goal is set at $300. It will allow us to double all tournament prize pools in Season 2. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.